40 years a New Yorker in 8 pivotal episodes. Episode 1, 1976. I moved to New York City from Chicago, where I've been living since my family moved there from Alabama in 1969. In Chicago, my dancing consists primarily of solo improvisations in front of small audiences in alternative venues. I dance based on what feels good. If there's tension or constriction in my spine or some other area in my body, I breathe and flow into that area, into that tension. As I dance, I feel the air and the space outside and inside of me. Every moment is an opportunity to discover, to explore, and to be present in physical reality. In New York, I study at the Merce Cunningham Dance Studio. And I aspire to be in the Merce Cunningham Dance Company. 2 months later, it's reality. Episode 2, January 1977. I'm performing at the Minskoff Theater in Times Square. The first ever performance of Merce Cunningham Company in a Broadway house. A whole new realm of experience opens. The choreography is tightly scripted. It takes months of rehearsals and a virtuosity I'm just beginning to master. The audience is every night filled with people from all over, including celebrities from the world of art, music, dance, fashion, and performance. My family comes from all over the South just to be there with me. There are parties and galas where I interact and meet John Cage, Robert Rauschenberg, Jasper Johns, even John Lennon and Yoko Ono. It's awesome and exciting. And I feel right at home, like I belong, I'm meant to be there. But you know, I kind of miss my casual, kind of informal style of performing from my old life. But hey, I'm a New Yorker now. And it's very important that I make it here. So, you know, later I can make it anywhere. Episode 3, August 1977. I'm living with Jasper Johns in a romantic relationship. We pick blackberries. We hunt for mushrooms. We play games. We watch TV. And we host dinner parties. We have an apartment and a studio in the city, a house in the country, a compound in St. Martin. And you know what? Since it's a literary festival, I'll throw this in. He read to me The Tale of Genji every night for 3 months before we went to bed. And you know, it's natural and inevitable that we're together. It's kind of like an extension of the vision I had as an 18-year-old art student back in Evanston, Illinois. My high school painting teacher showed me a catalog of a recent Johns exhibition. And I was like, oh my God. I was immediately drawn in, entranced by the rich colors and the sensuous textures. And some of the pictures, the irony and the humor, kind of wicked humor, it was just so delightful and oddly familiar. And I knew at that moment I would be part of this life and come to know that artist. Was that a premonition? Maybe. It came to be. And I never questioned it. That is, until later. Episode 4, August 1980. I moved on from Merce's company. I'm presenting my work around New York City and around the country. And my relationship with Jasper is up and down and on again, off again. And it's filled with disappointment and upset and pain, and then ecstasy, then pain and disappointment and heartbreak, lots of heartbreak. So it's the end of a long day after rehearsal, and I'm dragging myself back to my sublet in Tribeca. And I'm too broke to take a taxi, and I'm too proud to ask my wealthier friends for support, and I'm just exhausted. I'm really exhausted from trying to hold this seemingly glamorous life together with like the world's top superstar artist. I'm standing there waiting to cross Canal Street, and this curious man in a small car is like, in a sense, I'm going to ignore that and start walking across the street. And he starts honking. And I look and it's like, what? I'm going to ignore that. And then he honks and he sticks his head out the window and he says, "Aren't you Jim Self?" And I go, he says, "Hi, I'm Robert Wilson. We met. You want to ride?" And I'm like, "Oh, hi, I didn't recognize you. Nice to see you." "I'm fine, I just live right over there." I said, "No, really, you want to ride? You want to ride?" It's no problem, I live just a couple blocks away. "Do you want to ride?" I said, "No, it's fine. I'll see you around." I said, "You sure? I'll give you a ride." I said, "I'll see you later." So I was walking away and I'm thinking, well, that was interesting and kind of weird. Why was he so eager to give me a ride? And by the time I got home, I'd forgotten about it. But the universe didn't forget. It was like it's saying, "Nice try, little lost boy. It ain't over yet." Sure enough, 2 weeks later, I'm standing in Bob's building, about to ring his buzzer. And I'm saying, wait a second. Is this a good idea? I mean, the last thing I need is another, like, high-powered, famous, genius artist in my life. Episode 5, December 1980. Living with Bob Wilson is literally driving a ring of fire. I admired his slow-moving stage pictures. But nothing in his life moved slowly. We're in Dallas for a week while he's teaching performance workshops. And my job every day is to go to the gay-owned mechanic's garage and oversee the refurbishing of a little sports car he bought from his brother-in-law. And the idea is we're going to drive that car from Texas to Miami, then fly to Jamaica for our honeymoon. So the last day I go to pick up that car, this big, burly, bear mechanic comes over and says, winks at me and says, "You've always had the nicest smile, but don't drive this car ever over 60. I go, okay. So the next morning, I'm driving the car, we're heading out to Miami. And Bob says, "Why are you going so slow? Why are you going so slow?" I said, "Well, you know, I told you. They said don't drive over 60. Let me drive." So I move over, he gets in the driver's seat. He starts 90 miles an hour down this big Texas highway. Within an hour, the car burst into flame. There's smoke everywhere. We pull off the road and it's dead. It's just dead. It's undrivable. So we ditch the car. and we take a bus to New Orleans with the plan to go to Miami, fly to Miami, then fly to Jamaica. On the way, we stop in Shreveport. There's a layover, a couple hours. So we go downtown, we find a jewelry store, and we buy wedding rings. Matching wedding rings. And out front on the sidewalk in downtown Shreveport, we exchange marriage vows so that our honeymoon will be legit. So we get to our rental house in Jamaica, and I've never seen anything like this, ever. First thing we do is you take a walk down the main road, and Bob's like the Texas Pied Piper of Jamaica. Hi, come on! Hi! Come on down, come on! Within minutes, we had dozens of Jamaicans of all ages following us to the house where we serve Coca-Cola and smile a lot and laugh. And Bob says, ah! Everybody laughs. And 5 years together was like that, wherever we went. Paris, Berlin, Rome, Chicago, New York, Amsterdam. His entourage got bigger and bigger and bigger. And I found myself slowly trailing behind, slower and slower. Episode 6, spring 1988. Most of the 80s I worked with my dear friend, the late great Frank Moore, who was a brilliant painter and performance maker and designer and artist. And when Frank was a young man, he kept bees. And he convinces me to choreograph a ballet based on the intricate communicative dances that bees do. And our set's going to be based on their remarkable architectural skills. So we do that, and we have big productions in France at the Sundance Institute, and the Boston Ballet commissions a big, huge production in the largest theater in North America. In that year, our funding dries up. There's a downturn in the market, and all the foundation money just wasn't there. So we're looking around, what are we going to do? How are we going to get to this next project? Then Frank is diagnosed with full-blown AIDS. And he comes to me and he says, I want to stop doing performance and devote my life, the rest of my life, to making paintings, which he does. And I feel very sad, and I want the best for him. And I'm left with this complete sense of abandonment. I'm lost, without direction. I really don't know what to do. Episode 7, spring 1989. I'm on a journey. I've done growth and training development. I've done ontological work. I've done therapy. I've done life coaching, meditation, and Sufi dancing. And for the first time since a kid, I have 3 jobs that are not dance related. I'm a full-time gardener in New York City, a part-time cater waiter at the Met Galas. And I'm a part-time telephone fundraiser. Wouldn't you like to contribute to this fabulous hospital in San Diego? And I test positive for HIV. And the world shifts. I do some research, and I decide I'm not going to do the current drug therapy. I'm going to take my life, my health, and my well-being into my own hands and create a new life. And I start that. Seemingly out of nowhere, I get a job offer from Cornell to teach performance and dance with the possibility of getting my bachelor's degree simultaneously. I jumped in. I welcome the steady paycheck. I monitor my health and my well-being. And I grow stronger, I flourish, and stronger, and stronger, and stronger, and stronger. Episode 8, 2016. Summer of 2016. I'm sitting in the back of my nearly 200-year-old farmhouse in West Danby, New York, where I cut grass, and I make paintings, and I produce dance events, and I watch my dog chase rabbits. And I'm thinking, oh, it's 2016. I moved to New York in 76. Oh, I'm 40 years a New Yorker. It's a marker. And I begin to reflect on that. And I walk up the hill to the highest point of my property where I can look out down the valley, Cuga Valley, and up the Cuga Valley, and the amazing forests all around. And I particularly reflect on the 25 years I taught at Cornell. I remember rituals and performances where I explored erotic healing energy, animal spirit dances, and I even did updated versions of Greek mythologies. And I made paintings and writings and drawings and dances based on the archetypical characters that inhabit our psyche. And I took art history, and I took my personal history, and I looked how they intersected. And I made work that intersected with all these other things. Very rich. And in 1996, I graduated summa cum laude from Cornell with a BA in ritual and performance. I survived the turn of the century. I survived 9/11. And I survived a long isolation and depression after personal losses and failed relationships. Then in 2009, I was given a research leave from Cornell to study club culture. So I went to Los Angeles, I went to New Orleans, I went to Miami, I went to Atlanta, and I looked at club dancing and hip-hop culture. And my interest in discovering the world came back. I went to Rio, I went to vacation in Mexico, and for a while I was a bi-coastal, LA, Ithaca, had a painting studio in LA, and I danced and made performance there as well as in Ithaca. It was the best of both worlds. And then 2014, I fully retired from Cornell. I went on a long trip to Bali. And then I came back to my farmhouse and settled in there with the long winters and the beautiful scenery. Now I'm here. I'm embodying everything from the past, taking it forward into the future. And I remember all the great people in my life. Many of you are here, including family, friends, lovers, colleagues, students, teachers. Some have passed. Merce and John are gone. Frank Moore is gone. My parents are gone. But I'm alive. And I'm grateful. And I'm honored that you're here, listening to me. And I want to thank you all for coming and being here.